Hello out there. My name is Robbie, aka Sweet Awakening, and I just wanted to take this opportunity to connect with you guys. Um, it is January 12th, 2012. First off, Happy New Year. Um, I feel really good about world events. I don't know about the rest of you guys, but there's a lot of stuff going on, and it looks pretty positive. I mean, there's a lot of negative stuff going on out there, but to me, I mean, it shows us how close we really are. You know, um, Things like the NDAA and SOPA and all these other little things that the United States government is trying to, put down on its citizens and stuff like that. To me, these seem like final phases. They're pretty blatant kind of things. They're not very subtle. To anyone who's paying any attention at all, it is, pretty blatant that they're stripping away our rights. So to me, it seems like they are in their final phases because they're scrambling and they're trying to stop, this tidal wave of awakenings that is occurring all over the planet. Um, so that's a good sign. I mean, I know that they're passing these things and the FEMA camps are being stocked and all this stuff, but I just don't see how they're going to win. There's just too much going on, especially ever since like the Arab Springs started last year. I mean, it's just been rolling and rolling. And with the 99% Occupy movements in the fall of 2011, that was pretty much only really slowed down by them curb stomping everybody and arresting them, and then it getting cold and winter coming on. So to me, it looks like they know that once the weather warms up, these people are going to be out back in the streets and in larger numbers, and they've had months to plan things. And I mean, this is still continuing. I mean, they're still going, but I mean, it's going to really start hitting home. This is really going to start looking like a revolution, come the spring. So to me, it looks like the cabal is scrambling to make sure they take away our rights and freedoms, as fast as they can before that happens. Um, there's all this talk about global economic restructuring. Um, I like Benjamin Fulford. To me, he's a good source. Um, I uh, I also saw the video where there was the guy on the Conscious Media Network talking about a new global currency. I feel pretty good about that too. Um, I noticed that Ben Fulford said that it was another group of 130 that was different than the 117 that he was, countries that he was, aware of. I don't know how all that works. There might be some mixed match, some like, I don't know. Maybe it's a whole other group of 130. I don't know how many countries are out there. I have no clue. But um, but yeah, there's only a few that are really in, you know, main control right now. So the rest of them are awake and aware. They know that the Federal Reserve is a big pain in the butt for the whole rest of the world, even if we don't, even if the American citizens that keep it going, even if we don't know, they know because, this war machine is being brought down on their head. I just saw the other day that, there was, some Pakistani bombings and all this stuff with Iran. This is final phase stuff. They cannot win this. There is no way. I mean, I to me, I felt like I was completely in the dark of anything. I was completely ignorant of, the real global scene and all this kind of stuff. And I was an intelligence analyst in the army. I had a top secret clearance and all this stuff, but I didn't know anything. I just didn't think there was anything to know. I figured I kind of would have stumbled across something while I was, working around there. But everything's so compartmentalized, that's not necessarily true. You might never run into any of this stuff. But I tell you, after I started running into this stuff and I started paying attention, there's a lot of information out there, and it doesn't take very long to get a good grasp of, you know, what is really going on out there. You know, because there's so many good people out there who are willing to break it down and explain it. It does require that the person that is interested in awakening to, to the real deal, actually want to learn, actually want to know, so that way it can happen very quickly. But if they do, and there's someone who's willing to break it down for them, I mean, they can get a good handle on everything pretty quickly. I mean, it took me probably about maybe 5 months, and I could probably do it in two. So I've been, me as soon as I woke up and started realizing that I'm probably a star seed, and I have a mission and all that kind of stuff. I started, trying to break this information down for people and all this kind of stuff. And the way I do it, I mean, a lot of people do it in different ways. I am very personable. I like being around people. I usually have like, anywhere from 5 to 15, 10, 15 people over here at my apartment, about 3 times a week, and we just hang out and talk about, enlightenment and the world scene and stuff. And these are things these people have never really talked about. They're kind of things that they kind of tossed around inside and maybe watched a couple movies or something that, they like. But, but they haven't really discussed it out loud. And now they are, and they've been discussing it with me for about at least a year or so now. So I've started to have a big impact on, like, I live in an apartment, so a lot of the people in my complex I've had a chance to talk to and stuff like that, and they go out to work and start talking to all the people there, and and then I'm constantly putting stuff on my Facebook feed, so people can, what, at least get, at least see it, at least hear it, something's wrong with the Federal Reserve. There's a problem with the global economic system. They might not ever think about this stuff unless you talk about it. But see, but anyway, the point is when the everything starts rolling even faster every day, this process becomes, a little bit easier, a little bit more fluid. People are picking up things along the way. So even if it looks to us like they're completely asleep, they might have all of the pieces that they need to wake up tomorrow. And then it only take them like 2 weeks, to get a good grasp on the situation. So stuff like that is what gives me a lot of faith in humanity. And I mean, I've met all kinds. I live in North Carolina, and I grew up in the Bible Belt. I went off to the Army for a few years and stuff, but I came back. And a lot of these people here, a lot of people don't give them any credit. They don't think that there's, that they could ever really wake up and understand, what's really going on. But I think that they can. I really do. Especially there's a part of what's happening is, especially with the new technologies and all that stuff, the spiritual evolution is regaining our connection to source. And a lot of these people in the Bible Belt are very spiritual people. They're really good and compassionate and all that stuff. They just go to church a lot, and they a lot of them are kind of judgmental, but a lot of them aren't. They're just good, kind people. You know, and yeah, it's once, they're really thick, but you know once they want to wake up and to want to see, what's going on, it can be done very quickly. you know Benjamin Fulford says we can solve, world hunger and all that kind of stuff in a few months, and that's what I've been saying. I know we can. I know we can do this by the end of the year. We this whole planet, can be completely different in the next 12 months. You know, so I mean, so much has happened in the past 12 months. I don't even know what happened in 2011. I just blinked and it was gone. But uh, I don't know if anybody's seen my other videos, but I'm starting to grow out my hair. Um, it's I don't know. That's my New Year's resolution to myself, I guess. It's I've always had really short hair, but ever since my awakening, like I've just wanted to just kind of let it go. So I've been letting it go for about 7, 8 months, and my resolution for this year, 2012, is to not cut it. You know, so who knows? We'll see how long it gets. Um, I don't know how many of these videos I'm going to be doing. You know, we'll see what happens. Um, but I read, a lot of the stuff you guys put out, and, a lot of your comments and stuff like that, and I feel really good about Ashtar Command. Um, and so, yeah, thanks guys so much for everything that you're doing. Um, all of the posts and all of the good words and, words of encouragement and all that stuff, it keeps me going. And so I can do it out here, and I'm sure a lot of people feel the same way. Um, I I guess that's about it. Um, but yeah, I just wanted to take this opportunity to connect with you guys, because I think so highly of all of you. Um, and to let you know again, hopefully you all feel really good about what's going on right now, because if you've been reading Greg Giles' channelings, it feels like we're pretty close to something. And I feel really good about Greg Giles. Thank you, Greg Giles, if you're watching this. Thank you so much. Um, but yeah, yeah, and with everything that's happening and with the intensity of all of the channelings, I really feel like something's coming up, and I've been saying it over and over and over. Once those announcements happen, everything's different, everything's changed, the ball's rolling, and you can't take it back, So everything is completely different after that. So be ready for that, and we're going to be the ones to see it first, so we'll try to. It might just be a small thing, kind of like all of the announcement on the Conscious Media Network. It might be something like that, but we're on the front. We're in the front lines here. We're going to get this information first, and they're probably not going to disseminate. The mainstream media is not going to disseminate this stuff until it gets taken away from the people who own it and are brainwashing everybody and stuff like that. So it'll be up to us. It's a lot of alternative media sites. They're a little negative, cynical, but not Ashtar. Ashtar is supposed to be a positive thing. So we're going to keep it that way, and it's up to us to disseminate all these positive words of encouragement and light to the masses and stuff like that. So we're getting ready. I'm getting ready. Um, Again, thanks, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Love and light. Namaste.